It's been a little while since our last Deadlock update, but the 11th of February has rolled around and Valve are back with a new update. And this one contains some brand new visual effects. So let's get into it and see what spice Valve have sprinkled into the dead air cooking pot. The Cursed Apple hasn't had too many changes outside of balance inside of tonight's update, so let's have a look then and see what they've done. We can start off with Calico. Leaping Slash has had some minor changes inside of tonight's patch. Calico overall continues to be relatively strong and one of the most played characters following her graduation from Hero Labs into the main Deadlock roster. The way they've tried to balance her here is by slightly reducing the damage dealt by tier 2 of Leaping Slash, bringing it down by 15 points of damage from plus 75 to only plus 60. They also went ahead and tweaked her ult as well, so let's slide on down and see what Valve have done to retune Return to Shadows. The cooldown has been increased by an additional 10 seconds, so that's up from 90 seconds now to 100 seconds, making it a little bit harder for you to spam those ults continuously and get them off in quick succession. Your speed has also been reduced when in your ultimate form, from a plus 50% buff to just plus 30%. You can see that this will have some overall effects on, of course, those quick chases when using Return to Shadows to try and shut down players that are escaping, or when using it for ganks. However, it's not as bad as it sounds when you factor in that Return to Shadows Tier 2 will now also grant you plus 20% movement speed. So of course you see what they've done there. They've just shifted it off and made it so it's more on your skill point investments going into Tier 2 outside of its base speed. So nothing too crazy. Calico is certainly still viable and hasn't been nerfed into the ground, so you can still run around meowing all over New York, spamming mouse 1 as Ava the cat. But let's bounce on over and see if they've nerfed Holliday, another character of course which has been constantly in hot topics, hot debate. Everyone is frustrated with her barrels, her bombs and her bounce pads. That's all she's doing. For a character that looked like it was going to be so heavily based around gun builds where you'd be getting those sick crack shots off aiming for the head, all people do is build spirit and bomb you to high hell. Valve are aware of this and have made some changes to both the bounce pad and of course her powder kegs as well. They've staggered the cooldown time in between your charges, so you can't spam out the bombs anywhere near as quickly anymore. It's just shy of 4 seconds per reset on those now, and the tier 2 for bounce pad has also gone down by 20 points of damage. Rather than giving you plus 100, that's only going to be plus 80. Again, she's still relatively viable though, and it's nowhere near as much of a nerf as I think some people expected she was going to be receiving. Let's have a look at the magnificent, the wonderful Sinclair himself. Now for Sinclair, the first change inside of this patch is a visual detail that's quite interesting. If you have a look on his weapon stats inside of the buy menu, you can see they've changed the icon for his gun. No longer known as the Prestige, now just called Magic Wand, and looking like just that, a magic wand. They've also tweaked his damage overall and bullet velocity, upping it massively from where it was before. It's about half of Infernus's bullet velocity for context, but still very, very quick. Feels fun. It feels overall like a better tweak, and you can see that they're trying to make him more of a long-range hero now rather than short-range being the focus. Spectral Assistant has also got some new visual effects. Side-by-side comparison here, you can see that it is based on Lady Geist's model with just a couple of changes. They seem to have removed the shawl that's wrapped around her shoulders, and I'm not sure if it's a visual effect bug to do with the graphic settings that I use when recording these videos, or the fact that I play Deadlock in 4K, but it looks quite lewd. I've seen some people don't have a model that looks like this, so not really sure what's going on here, but Valve, you might want to be aware of this one and have a look at the graphics options for the next update. Please fix, or don't fix, if you're a Marvel Rivals player, because I'm sure you'll be enjoying this one. All jokes aside though, with some serious business, the rabbit is well and truly out of the hat, as they've made a whole load of gameplay changes to Sinclair's overall rabbit hex. Now, this used to be a single target ability, of course, that you could use either as a self-cast or on enemies. Now you can see it is a mass cast AoE. It does have a delay and also increased range. Even audience participation has had some changes to make it slightly more viable in terms of long-range steals for ultimates, upping its range by 10 meters, and its copy duration has gone down by 10 seconds. That's everything to do with Sinclair though. We can get our eyes on Wraith and see what they've done. Unexpected to see Wraith's name in this list, all things considered, as it felt like it was mostly focusing on the newer heroes with the balance patch we got today. But Wraith has just had a couple of tweaks to two of her abilities. Card Trick being the first one, and that's just going to be the radius going down by 1 meter from 5 meters to 4 meters. Other than that, it's her ultimate telekinesis that Valve continue to play around with patch upon patch, as it still feels like they're not quite happy with it since changing it from a point and click stun that it used to be previously. Now, telekinesis base damage has gone down quite a bit actually. This is going to go down from 175 to 140, so keep that in mind. Lastly, it's a few item changes. More so minor here, all of these are in the 500 soul category. Restorative Shot is no longer going to be granting you plus 3% weapon damage for a weapon item. Losing a little bit of weapon damage feels like a bit of a gut punch, but it is what it is. Extra Stamina will no longer grant yourself plus 4% fire rate either. This one makes sense. This has been a common trend where Valve try and only give you buffs that are associated with the category of item, so I'm not too frustrated about that one being taken away from Extra Stamina. Lastly, it's Ammo Scavenger that gets a pretty big nerf all in all. Your max stacks are now only going to go up to 18 rather than 20, and it won't give you that additional 40 health. Obviously, that was a big kicker and a lovely boon to have early on in lane. Was always picking this item up on Hayes first buy, so rough to see that one changing. But there you go, that's your quick update for everything that's changed inside of Deadlock in the 11th of February patch. Remember, tune into the Dead Air podcast. Recently, we had Free Clicks Philip on as a guest, so if you haven't seen that one, go and listen to it with your ear eyes. Otherwise, I've been your host Jacky, and I'll see you next time. And don't forget to like and subscribe to Dead Air.